Hi everybody, welcome back to Kirsty Runs Wild. It is my due date today. It's 11/26/25, Thanksgiving Eve this year. And I am feeling really good. I had my OB appointment this morning. Here's my little bump, my big bump. Yeah. It's my favorite maternity shirt. Yeah, I had my OB appointment this morning and I had an ultrasound yesterday because they couldn't match up like an ultrasound and an appointment. So I had them 2 days apart or 1 day apart, but that's okay. So everything's looking good. That's the synopsis. Yeah, it's just so exciting. I made it to my due date. I thought I would. Being a first-time mom, babies usually come late if there's no medical complications, which I'm so grateful I have none so far. Oh my gosh, and there's just so many exciting little things to update on. Might be a little bit TMI, but like this is a birth, this is a pregnancy journey. So what do you expect, right? There's going to be a little bit of TMI in here. So first of all, so today, like I said, it's my due date. So I officially made it to 40 weeks. And I am actually coming from you from like a parking garage. I'm at one of my favorite coffee places called the Lost Shoe in Marlborough. As a little treat after my appointment, I got like the cereal milk latte, which is absolutely delicious. They put real cinnamon toast crunch on top of the latte. It's like so good. So yeah, just like celebrating with myself, on maternity leave, and gonna go to the noon meeting. Probably it's about 11 right now, so I'll go after I record this video. So let's get to the good stuff. So when I went for my ultrasound yesterday, Zach couldn't come because he's at the point at work where he really can't miss any more before paternity leave, which is fine because, we're going to have the baby soon. So he'll see the baby soon. But it opened up an opportunity for my mom to come to the ultrasound. So she came with me. And that was really nice, a nice moment to share. The baby has doubled in size since the last ultrasound at 33 weeks. So like it makes sense that it was harder to see like his features because the ultrasound doesn't like zoom in and out. It's just like one picture. So like his face, like you used to be able to see like his whole body in the ultrasound, and then at 33 weeks it was like just his face, and now at like 40 weeks it's like this. And his face is like really smushed. So the ultrasound tech kept calling him like, look at this little smush face, and it was so cute. It was like, it's kind of silly. His nose is like really wide and his brow looks really furrowed because like I can just imagine he's like all up in there like really smushed. So, but he looked pretty similar to the 33-week pictures, like his little face, what we could see of it. He wouldn't really move his hands from his face, so it was hard to get some good shots, the tech was saying, but we still did. We still were able to get a few pictures. So that was good. It was good for my mom to see like all of the different, organs and everything. And so he was measuring 8 pounds and 6 ounces, which is in the 69th percentile. And if you remember from my 33 weeks ultrasound, he was measuring 4 pounds and 14 ounces and was estimated to be in the 68th percentile. So that's doggone close. 68th versus 69th percentile. He's still measuring within an average range. They say he is not a danger to be a big baby, even though the ultrasounds can be not great predictors of the actual weight of the baby. They're good enough where like you can tell, at least if they're guessing 8 pounds 6 ounces, it's within a 20 ounce range, plus or minus 20 ounces. So my OB has said that within that guesstimated range, he is not a danger to be a big baby. So we like that, which means basically like I'm still on course to have a vaginal delivery, and I so far wouldn't need a C-section for any reason. So yeah, all good stuff. So they measured my amniotic fluid as well, which is measured to be at 10.8 in a healthy range. I think it's between 5 and 25. I don't know what the unit is. At 33 weeks, I was measuring 18 with the amniotic fluid. They didn't tell me much about it except that it still looks really good. They didn't mention like a concern that it had decreased from 18 to 10. I don't know if that's normal fluctuation. I don't know how accurate the measurement is, but they weren't concerned. So that is one thing they look for, though, just to make sure there's enough amniotic fluid for the baby still. So that was also really good. Everything else looked good. The organs look good. In my appointment today, my blood pressure was still really good. It's like 106/68, which I was like, is that low? And she was like, no, that's great. So great. I haven't gained any weight in the last 2 weeks, which is surprising and good, because I was gaining a lot, like a lot every week, like 5 to 7 pounds for a few weeks in this latter half of the third trimester. So that was, but so everything was looking good. And so I had Dr. Callahan today for my OB. She checked my cervix, and she actually said that while she couldn't like get her full finger through my cervix, which would be like 1 centimeter dilated, she did say it was like a little bit open. So we call it a 0.5 centimeter dilated. And that she thinks I'm like 75% effaced, which is great because there was nothing the last time that I got checked last week. And my OB had said last week that my cervix was really high up and like hard to feel. And my OB this week said that my cervix is definitely anterior, which means that it has come from a posterior position, which is the normal position, to like a middle position, to now being anterior in the front, which essentially is preparing for birth. That's what happens. It naturally kind of migrates and turns toward the front. So it points down and kind of lines up with your vaginal opening more. So the baby is ready to kind of like shoot out of your vagina and everything's lined up. So there's progress in a lot of different ways. However, she did say that like none of that means that like labor is imminent or in the next few hours or days or even weeks. So, but it is just exciting to see and hear that I am making some kind of progress in that direction. And what else did she say? She said that, she did say that she is on call, or she's gonna be in labor or delivery tomorrow on Thanksgiving and on Sunday. So she was talking to my baby through my vagina, saying that he should come on one of those days so she can help deliver him. And that would be great because she is very like good and gentle and a caring provider. So yeah. And she talked to me a little bit about induction, because she is just like Dr. Dalton doesn't like to do inductions really past 41 weeks, but because of the hospital policy where they won't even let you schedule until 40 weeks and 5 days right now because they're so overcrowded, they want to, so I would have to wait until Monday, which would be 40 weeks and 5 days for me, Monday, December 1st, to schedule an induction for sometime that week. And she said how that would work is that she would like put the order in Dr. Dalton. It would be Dr. Dalton on Monday. I would put the order in for an induction, and then the hospital would call me. Like we would put in a date and time, but like the hospital would still call me to tell me when to come in, because things can change as people need emergency inductions or C-sections or whatever. And if I'm still technically considered an elective induction, then I might be pushed like a little bit further into the week until I get whatever they decide is like too late term. They kind of triage by risk. So like it's weird right now, but I'm guessing I probably wouldn't go past like 41 weeks and like 2 days to be induced. I don't think they would kind of like have that happen. So yeah, that's what would go on, is if I don't go into labor spontaneously before Monday, I'll have my appointment on Monday, which is an ultrasound and a regular OB appointment to make sure everything's okay. If something was not okay, I would go into labor and delivery right away. They would obviously make room. It would be more of an emergency. I would either be an induction or a C-section, or everything looks good on Monday. Then we would schedule the induction for that week. And again, I'm not sure what day I would go in. So my OB did talk to me today about like Pitocin a little bit more, because I was like kind of like not wanting it, and she was like, there's a lot of bad research out there, it really is like fine, and the way we do it is ethical. And it's kind of frustrating because like we take these birth courses, they tell you all about good research versus bad research. I was, in college and learned a lot about ethical and best research practices being at a psych school, learning a lot about experimental design and good research. And so I have a critical mind also for these things. So it's really frustrating when you have different camps, like the medical camp and the doula camp and the natural labor and all these different things, where people trying to be balanced and giving you good research and information, still giving you like conflicting interpretations of that research. So, even like reading the studies myself, all of the effects are so slight, and like that statistically they're kind of considered significant, but then like some people will be like, well, the design of the research study is flawed in this way. And it's like, yeah, but like also all research is flawed in some way. So it's really all about how you package it and what you value, and how you interpret it in the end. So it's tough to have like people come at you being like I'm kind of like advocating for my like, I don't really want Pitocin. She's like, why? Or I want it like delayed as much as possible, or like to do everything to avoid it. And she's like, oh, why? And I'm like, well, because, the contractions can be interpreted as more painful with Pitocin. And then Pitocin is a synthetic form of oxytocin, which is a natural hormone we release. Oxytocin is said to, or, I guess it's again like a belief, but like also kind of makes sense that it releases endorphins that are pain inhibiting. So the synthetic form of oxytocin, which is Pitocin, is questioned at whether it has that same kind of endorphin benefit because it's synthetic. So that's a kind of interpretation of why the contractions might seem more painful, even though they're not, is because it might not have that hormonal benefit that the natural oxytocin has. Now, my OB kind of snapped back at this and said, like, our brains aren't that smart. They can't differentiate the Pitocin from the oxytocin, so it still gets the hormonal benefit and all this stuff. Now, I just am not really sure, who to believe. And it's not personal. It's not about who to believe. It's just like, I don't think either camp understands or knows like the truth, because they don't. They're just doing the best they can. And both camps says the other camp doesn't have my best interest in mind. So, it's all just kind of like nitty gritty at this point, and like very kind of like, we're like nitpicking, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's whatever. Like, no one knows the truth. We're doing the best we can with what we have. The bottom line is like, I would like to avoid Pitocin. I had some other reasons too that I couldn't access in the moment, but like it leads to a lot more medicalization of the process, a lot more interventions, and with more interventions comes more risk. And that's the bottom line. So like, I would like to avoid Pitocin, and like, so would they, you know what I mean? But like, so I would like to kind of push out the induction as far as possible, because if you do induce, the likelihood of needing Pitocin for the induction is pretty high. So you try like different things to start the induction, like the Foley balloon, you try the misoprostol or the Cervidil. It's kind of like a cervical ripening cream if you need that. Now my cervix looks like it's pretty ripening on its own, but you never know. So they might do that. All of these comes with their own set of risks. However, I've kind of like researched the risks, I think, to the best of my ability, and I'm not too worried about those risks. The risks I'm most worried about is the Pitocin. So if I don't go into labor from, like, if I have an induction and I get those kind of like the misoprostol or the like the Foley balloon or the Foley catheter, and I don't start contractions naturally from those, then once the cervix is effaced and dilated enough, which basically leads to a Bishop score of 7 or 8. A Bishop score is like basically a measurement of how ripe your cervix is, and then can decide based on the Bishop score if you're ready for Pitocin, as long as there's no adverse effects going on that you really need to be induced quickly. So because what happens if you induce with Pitocin, and they start to give you these contractions that are your body is essentially not ready for if your cervix isn't ripe, what can happen is that the baby can get into distress because the baby's essentially being pushed down onto a cervix that's not open enough for him to come out. So he can get into distress, and then that can cause an emergency C-section or something to happen to the baby. So what you really want to do is get the cervix nice and ripe and ready and loose. So once you do the Pitocin to then induce labor contractions, he's ready to actually come out and has a pathway, right? So there's a way to do it. And so my OB obviously was on board with that. She's like, absolutely, that's best practice, that's ethical. But I just wanted to like really make sure, because sometimes, you know, the hospital and different OBs, like I might not have her, don't really care as much, and they just want your baby out, and like don't really, for whatever reason, you know, they're rushed, they're this, they're that, especially going to a hospital that's overcrowded. Like they don't want to see you in there for that long. They don't want labor to progress slow. Like they want it fast. And like, again, when you kind of speed it up without your body like being appropriately ready for each stage, it can cause more intervention, more risk, more harm. So my goal is to have like a nice and slow labor. Everyone's like, I wish you a speedy labor. I'm like, I wish we a nice and slow labor. So it prevents tearing. It kind of like prevents having distress on the baby, you know, and just like everything goes according to essentially like God's plan, like in the universe's plan. So those are my thoughts around it. And ultimately, I defer to the doctor because there's a lot I don't know. Obviously, they have way more experience, but I am nervous that I'm going to get a doctor that's really egotistical or just like has such a set of beliefs that like they don't even really listen. And ultimately, I have to defer to them because I really don't know, like as much as they know, even if they aren't using a principled set of beliefs to guide their decision making. So it is a scary power dynamic, and you know, I'm just gonna pray that everything goes well. Like I said, it's nitpicky in the end. The risks aren't like too high. The biggest risk is that like, you know, the baby would have a problem. And I mean, we'd love to avoid an emergency C-section or a C-section. We'd love to avoid an induction. But if those things need to happen and I need to heal through them, and it's a game time decision, and maybe it's not a perfect call, at least like we know that they're still like within the realm of safe. So I'm trying to just be really even about it. I did a lot of research. It seems like the more I know and the more I get research, the like less clear things become a lot in my life. So people say like knowledge is power, and to empower yourself and do your own research. And it's like the more I do that and the more, you know, especially with things that are like very vaguely researched or like not well researched, which one of them is birth, labor, birth and delivery. Like it's kind of like a trap in a way, at least for me, you know, like I finally thought I had like my preferences down, and then my OB's like, oh no, that's bad research. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, it's just, yeah. So nah. It's okay though. I'm just trying to let it go. So yeah, in other news, so everybody's healthy, everybody's happy. We have Thanksgiving tomorrow. I'm supposed to make the cornbread stuffing. I volunteered to do that. It's gonna be fun, but guess what? If I don't make it, no one's gonna miss the stuffing. No one cares. It's fine. So I gave myself a little job to have some fun, but also like, it's not like the turkey where people are gonna be like upset if we don't have it. Yeah, so let's see what else. So I've been, you know, I'm on maternity leave. This is my second week on maternity leave now. It's so wonderful. I'm doing like another pass of like a mini 4th step, 5th step, and like amends for AA right now before this baby comes, which everybody thinks I'm so crazy for. But listen, I want to be so free. And my sponsor, I got a new sponsor a few months ago, and she was like, you should do this like before the baby comes, because you're not going to want to do this after the baby comes. And so I met with her on Monday to like start reading my 5th step to her. It's just like a mini one. I have like 15 resentments, 5 fears, and 1 sex inventory. It's like really not that much. I mean, I had 500 resentments my first time around, so this is not a lot, but it's still something that I need to focus on, and has felt really good to have the time off from work to do so. And so I'm actually finishing reading with her on Black Friday, pending this guy doesn't come before then. And I've also made 2 different amends that I kind of missed the first time around. So that felt like, it feels really good to be over with. They went well, but like, it just is always nerve-wracking to have amends on your calendar, like at least for me. Like I had to reach out to somebody I knew from college and also some of my family members. I circled back and made some formal amends from like, 10 years ago. So that was good to clear that out. And going to more meetings, like, because I'm free, so I'm like going to meetings every day, and it's so fun to be connected again like this. I was only going to a couple meetings a week, and now I'm like going every day again, and it just feels so freeing and great to be able to like spend the time to do that stuff. What else? So I've had like, I don't know if I like lost my mucus plug like after that cervical check this morning, like because there was like a lot of discharge when I went to the bathroom. Like I saw a lot of discharge, and I was like, is this maybe my mucus plug, but like kind of not intact, or is it just a lot of discharge? I don't know. But that happened, and last night the baby was like really, really, really moving around, like more than ever. Like did he just do a full flip? Like I don't even know what. Like it was like midnight, and I got really scared because he like move for like 10 minutes. It was like a lot of movement, more than this guy ever does. And then he just stopped, like all what felt for me like all night. Obviously I was sleeping a lot, so I don't know, but I got really nervous that like something happened. I don't know. Like, I just had this intrusive thought that like he was like in distress, and then like something happened, and like so, but I was just trying to tell myself to like wait for my appointment this morning, and I got my appointment. I told them, they're like, that's not how, he's fine. They checked the heart rate and everything, and it's 135 beats per minute. He's fine. So, and they said he's still head down. So like, I guess my OB can like feel that. I don't know, but, or maybe she just guessed based on yesterday's ultrasound that he couldn't probably flip at this point. I'm not sure, but I was like nervous that he like went breech after being head down for like 10 weeks. Like, so, but she said that everything was good, and, yeah, that there's like nothing to worry about. And, that, yeah, like I am doing really good. She said she was surprised that I haven't been feeling like any cramps or like contractions or anything, because I am so effaced at this point, and that my cervix has moved down. She said that I probably have a high pain tolerance because I haven't felt really much. And like I've never gotten period cramps, so like people are kind of keep asking me like, well, have you felt anything like period cramps? And I'm like, I don't know, because like I've never gotten period cramps, or maybe I do and I just like don't clock them. Like I don't know, but it just feels like, I don't know, like sometimes maybe gassy, or like, I don't know, like the baby's moving or a little pressure, but like not like anything that I'm picturing like labor to be like, or like Braxton Hicks to be like. So I don't know if I've been feeling things or not, but I guess it's a good thing that I'm not like, in pain or distress. Like, so that was kind of cool to hear, though, that like she's like, oh, you might have a high pain tolerance. I'm like, oh, well, thank you very much. I feel like I'm a little bitch. I'm like a little baby when it comes to pain. So, I'll take it. I'll take the possible compliment, because I'm nervous about the pain, obviously, of labor, right? Who isn't? So, yeah, I am super excited. My pups, by the way, like the little hives and the stretch marks, they went away a couple weeks ago. So, and usually it doesn't resolve till after you give birth. And like, I'm wondering now if I was like allergic to a cream that I used and it hung on for a while, because it's like happens every time I use like a lotion. Everyone's like, lube up that belly, like, so it's not itchy. And it's like, then I do. And then like I break out. Like, it doesn't matter what I use. Like, it's just like my skin does not like different moisturizers. I don't even know what ingredient it is, because it seems to be with like many different ones like I use. I'm exaggerating. I don't like try a lot, because the few times I do try, I break out. So like, I'm like, I don't need it. Like, my skin isn't really dry, like, and my belly was never itchy. The only time it was itchy is after I used that probably after I used the cream and broke out in the pup rash, what they diagnosed as pup, and maybe it wasn't because it went away. So I just wanted to update you guys on that went away. And so I've been doing good with that. What else? The baby is like facing to the left, so like, which I always feel him in my upper left quadrant, like right here. I always feel like little kicks and bumps, and I think that's because like his head is like down here, his spine is this way, his butt is here, and his legs are here, and that's exactly what the ultrasound showed. And he's like very consistently facing that side, you know, head down, and they said he can spin and everything, and sometimes I feel him in a little bit of a different place, but probably like 80 to 90% of the time I feel him over here. And so that is pretty cute. I think it's cute that he has a little preference. So yeah. And yeah, so Zach and I are just making our way through little tasks in the house. We have a couch coming on Saturday to replace our other couch, so hopefully I'm here for that and we can like have that nice and in place. I might order another rocking chair because I love rocking chairs. My mom might get that for me for Christmas. I want one in a couple different rooms, so might do that. We put up our floating shelves in the bathroom. We got our Christmas tree downstairs, so we're gonna put that up probably like Black Friday, I'm guessing, at this point, maybe before that, but I want to decorate for Christmas, so this baby comes into a world of Christmas. The nursery is pretty much done. I mean, there just continues to be like little things, like we put the car seat camera in and that looks really good. We installed it just in Zach's car. I put my car seat base in my car. But Zach will be the main one driving for a while, so we just got one camera to see how it works, so we put it in his car. So that was good. And I made like one freezer meal so far of like some soup. And yeah, I've just been like putzing around doing the to-do list. There's really not much. I wrote my last thank you note for like little gifts that I've been getting. My mom's been getting us presents every week from the registry, like to give us the last of what's on our registry, and that's been really nice because we really do have like every single thing we need at this point, probably way more. But it just feels good, and I've cleared my schedule next week completely, and I've pushed everything this week to the front load it because of Thanksgiving. So it's really nice to have just like this peace of mind. My nesting urge is gone. Like literally a few weeks ago, it just left and it hasn't returned. And I'm okay with that. Like the anxiety's way down because of it. Like I got everything done pretty much anyway. Like we always have little things to do still on the list, but like nothing that would make or break like this baby's delivery coming when he does. So like it's totally cool, and we are very excited for the arrival of this little boy, and we are not announcing the name until he comes out. So we have an idea of what the name is, but we are also waiting for an open if inspiration kind of drives us and strikes us differently when we see his little face. So I am so excited for this little baby boy. He's already so loved. He's our little precious baby. Zach and I talk to him every day. We rub my belly. We say, Daddy's here when Daddy's there, and he talks to him and he rubs him. And we are just fantasizing about him being in our arms and in our presence, and we couldn't be more excited and more grateful. So I will talk to you guys soon. Who knows, there may be another update before the birth of this little guy, so we shall see. All right, see you in the next one. Bye.